The design of the modern acoustic guitar is much the same today as it was over 160 years ago. An acoustic guitar is an ancient instrument in design and purpose. I've been a guitar player since 1977, and I'm currently a guitarist in a band that performs weekly. I've also been in possession of many different acoustic guitars from different manufacturers. Acoustic guitar design has remained nearly unchanged for centuries. This guitar was built in 1937. As you can see, this guitar and this guitar, which was built in 2011, are essentially the same. The difference would be sometimes the material that they're made of. This one being made of a little bit cheaper wood. This one is made of rosewood and mahogany. This particular guitar has the same number of frets, which are these right here, that this guitar has. This guitar actually has a pickup inside it to allow me to plug it in. However, it can be played without being plugged in, just as this one is. But the fact that these two guitars are over 70 years apart and this similar makes my statement correct. Now, the first stringed instruments were believed to have been sitar-like and came from Western Asia. The first guitar similar to these was made in Spain in 1850, and from that point on, they've been relatively exactly the same. Stringed instruments were represented in carvings and cave paintings that are dated back as far as 1300 BC. And now let's define the parts of an acoustic guitar. The body is the largest part. That's this part right here that has the hole in right here. And it's approximately this shape on every guitar. This particular guitar has what's called a cutaway, which means it's easier to get your fingers up in this area to play higher on the neck. Each guitar has a neck. That's the next largest piece. It's where the notes are changed. If you push down on the string on the neck, in this fret it sounds like this, this fret it sounds like this, this fret it sounds like this, and so on and so on, and string by string. That's how the tone is changed. The keys are used for tuning. These are the keys right up here. And when these are turned one way or the other, they make a different sound down to wherever you want it to make. That's how you tune the guitar to make it sound right. The bridges are used to hold the strings in place and to lift them to specific heights from the neck. That would be right here and right here. If these are not on there on the guitar, then what happens is when you push the string down, the actual string hits the body of the guitar and doesn't resonate properly. The strings themselves are made out of metal on all types of guitars. However, other than a classical guitar, which the strings are made of nylon, because the strings are picked with fingers and the metal would cut people's fingers. They create tone by vibrating at various resonances. So the strings are all a different size and a different gauge, but they are all made out of the same product. Now let's contrast the design of this acoustic guitar with that of an electric guitar. An electric guitar, such as this one, has a solid body, not a hollow body. So there's nothing inside here that makes any difference into how the guitar sounds. This guitar has what are called pickups. Those are these things here, right along here. These pick up the vibrations and make the sound a little differently. With an electric guitar, unlike with an acoustic guitar, the amount of force used to hit the strings makes no difference. Really, the difference is made by turning the amplifier on and turning it up or down, or turning the sound up and down on the guitar. Completely different sound than that one. And this one can be made to sound any kind of sort of different way simply by pushing buttons. You can see that's a different sound. You know, just by pushing a button, you can make a completely different sound with it. Also, an electric guitar has more frets because they're easier to get to, and because the neck is so much thinner, it's much easier to use your fingers to get up higher. When you get up higher on the neck on an electric guitar, these particular strings and the way that this works, the strings are much easier to push down because the bridges on an electric guitar are different. So that doesn't take nearly as much effort. And because the string doesn't have to resonate as fully, and because the pickup picks it up, it doesn't have to be the same wound strings. These strings are wound much, much looser than the strings on an acoustic guitar, which are wound much, much tighter. The amplifier, of course, is used. If you play this without the amplifier, it really doesn't make much of a sound at all. You must have an amplifier. Electric guitar strings are wound much differently and are less rigid for the reasons that I told you about. In conclusion, I'll say that although the finishes and cosmetic improvements are impressive over the last 20 years for acoustic guitars, the fact remains that the acoustic guitars remain relatively unchanged for over 160 years. And the design seems to work very well, so why change it? It can be used without any sort of electronics or equipment or anything else. And if it works, don't break it. Don't fix it. Thanks.